It's self-inflicted trauma, self-inflicted pain. The destruction of Gaza is the making of Hamas, it's the making of the Palestinians. And instead of admitting that their strategy is wrong, that what they did was evil, what they are doing, they're coming to blame me, they're coming to blame Israel, they're coming to blame every free person who say no to violence.
I want to ask you first question. We're very glad that you're here. And in our eyes, you're the expert for what's going on in the PA and Palestinian Authority in the Judea and Samaria. We're talking about the Palestinian Authority. They want a state. Do the Palestinian Authority, they are the leader of the Palestinian, or they should not be? Abu Mazen should not be the leader.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't pose as an expert on the topic. I'm just an eyewitness. The situation with the Palestinian Authority, when was the last time they held elections? That was about almost 20 years ago. They don't have legitimacy. Mm-hmm. They're not united. They don't have leadership. And they're conflicted. The only thing that is bringing them together is a common enemy, which is Israel.
In fact, for me, it's very plain that the Palestinian Authority has no authority. The Hamas is completely irrelevant because of its ideology. Jihad, Islamic Jihad, and so on likewise. But there are millions of Palestinians in the West Bank. What do you propose? Do you have a creative idea of how they can, what should be done? What should be the policy? Should they be a part of another country in the region? Is it at all feasible? Where should we aim, even in the long run?
If Israel is going to declare what's Trump.
Well, basically, let's begin with Palestinian. Palestinian itself does not, as a term, does not have legitimacy to speak of the Palestinian Authority. Palestinian Authority is self-proclaimed representative of the Palestinian people. But Palestine is a lie. Palestinian is another lie. Palestinianism is basically the mechanism to replace Israel. It's a counterforce. It's a hostile entity. And this is what they're posing. And I recommend that we stop calling them Palestinians. Because what is Palestinian? Other than an enemy of the state of Israel.
And then what would you do with the people? Call them as you wish, that are
when
in the West
when the PA is going to collapse, if there is no PA.
The PA, in my humble opinion, is non-existent, basically.
Right.
So, but there are people, whatever you want to call them,
right.
Should they be incorporated into another country? They're there. And to become a one state is a danger in and within itself to Israel. So what should be done?
Yes, I recommend that those who want to live in peace with Israel, they can govern their own cities. They can have a mayor of a kind. In my opinion today, what's his name? Mahmoud Abbas is functioning as a mayor. He's the chief civil administrator. But for some reason, he started to believe that he's a president of a state. And slowly, they got legitimacy from around the world. So basically, we need them to realize their actual size. Okay? They cannot replace Israel. Oslo is not based on a two-state solution. It's a negotiation that was meant in good faith that would lead to peace. And they are in violation of that up to this point.
We have a war against Hamas or war against Palestinians?
Oh, this is a very important question. Hamas declared war on Israel on October 7th, and on October 8th, Palestinians declared war on Israel.
Wow.
This is the simple truth. And since then, the Palestinian Authority, actually prior to that, funding BDS and their campaign to delegitimize Israel for the last 20 years, the establishment of the Palestinian Authority was meant to lead to peace with Israel, not to pose as an existential threat for the state of Israel through delegitimizing the state of Israel globally. And today, all the recognition of a Palestinian statehood, this is basically the outcome of the sneaky work of the Palestinian Authority.
Sneaky work, yeah.
So this is a war of narrative, and this is a war on Israel, and it's not only within the territories. It's a global war, and today Israel is paying the price for all the lies that the Palestinian Authority has been spreading worldwide. So you tell me, Israel is not at war with the Palestinians. Israel, when they went, they said, our goal is to destroy Hamas, to remove Hamas from power. It was a very clear goal. But unfortunately today, the war is not between Israel and Hamas only. It's between Israel and all those who claim to be Palestinians, whether it's within the state of Israel, and I include the Israeli Arabs, by the way, who identify as Palestinians. Why do you identify as a Palestinian? You live in a state of Israel, your citizenship is an Israeli, and you still identify as a Palestinian, which is nothing but hateful indoctrination against the Jewish people. So basically, these people need to understand who they are. We need to help them to understand who they are. If you are an Arab, then you need to respect the state that you live in. And this is, if Israel does not define the line, who are the Palestinians and what they want from us? If they are launching a campaign against Israel, this means that Israel need to deal with what so-called Palestinians accordingly.
Mosab, I want to ask you a question. You know, it looks like we're always falling to the traps of Hamas. Tajwi, Awal, Sahafin, always there is something that we're falling. How can we not fall to the next trap and to do the immigration?
Look, since the beginning of this very ugly war, Hamas orchestrated a situation, a trap, where Israel walked right into it. And we are still in that trap. We had the opportunity from the beginning of the war to make it very clear to Egypt, you have a couple of weeks to evacuate the civilians into Sinai and finish Hamas in a short period of time. Unfortunately, we failed because we considered Egypt as a peace partner, even though Egypt is responsible, is part of the problem, not part of the solution. And up to this point, we got caught up in this humanitarian crisis in Gaza. And Israel has been blamed for committing genocide against Palestinians, famine, starvation, name it. And this became now the truth of the world.
Why?
So in order for Israel to get out of this situation, the United States or even Israel, by all necessary means, by the way, by all necessary means, even I consider the use of force to allow the Gazans to get out of Gaza and finish the war as soon as possible. The world is sitting on a volcano, and Israel, the time is not in Israel's favor. So with that said, we did it wrong up to this point because we have been playing according to Hamas rules. And from this point on, we can correct it. Fair. We must find a way to get the Gaza civilians out of the territory and attack Hamas as hard as possible until we wipe them out.
Wow.
To pose a Palestinian state right now will lead eventually to the dismantlement of the Palestinian Authority. Even the Palestinian Authority, if it was an achievement for what's so-called Palestinians, this is coming to an end right now because of the wrongdoings of the Palestinian Authority and their double game. They're actually triple games that they've been playing. So I don't care where they go. Wherever they go, of course, I prefer that they go to the European countries. You know why? I would like for your hypocrites around the world to finally get to meet the Palestinians for what they are. Because their understanding of the Palestinians, they think that this is just a normal human society that's being oppressed by Israel. I tell them this is a barbaric society where the vast majority agree on evil. We saw them how they were celebrating on October 8th. Nobody can forget this. No matter amount of propaganda around the world can make me forget the Gazans celebrating in the streets the slaughter and the killing and the kidnapping of innocent civilians. There is no such thing as civilians in Gaza. And of course, this is not acceptable by what's so-called international law, and I don't give a about the international law. It has been almost 100 years, a century. And what so-called Palestinians don't want to coexist with Israel. They don't want to live in peace. Should we try another 100 years of misery and suffering and bloodshed to come to the same conclusion, same realization? And who's going to pay for this? The state of Israel? Enough is enough. The people here are exhausted of war. And this is the time to seize the moment, to finish this madness. Let them go to hell. I don't care. Wherever they go. And I take responsibility for my words. If they don't want to coexist peacefully and act like barbaric 7th century mentality by the name of jihad, by the name of Palestine, by the name of manipulation, enough is enough, and I don't care what the world thinks. Yes, let them go to France. They would be the reason of collapse of civilization, wherever you take them. If Egypt does not want to take them, if Jordan does not want to take them, then let Europe take them. Yes, I will be very happy if they go to Europe.
You know, Mosab, they attacked me that I said that the journalists of Hamas, the journalists, the Hamsawiin. So you said there is no such a thing. There is no such thing. We fall into the same trap all the time. But what Israeli do the wrong in the global opinion to convince the world what you think?
Look, as long as we are allowing Hamas to use what's so-called civilians, this is the double game they are playing. One part posing as civilians and the other part is posing as terrorists. There is no difference. Bad cop, good cop, they are serving the same master. They all agree on evil. 36 years, Hamas building momentum. And the society where Hamas came from justified suicide bombing attacks during the Second Intifada. Why am I frustrated? More than 100 suicide bombing attacks happened during the Second Intifada. Have we forgotten? I was part of the counter-terrorism. I was dealing with the minds that wanted to blow everything up. And because of opposing their strategy, because of opposing their violence, what happened? They shunned me. They sentenced me to death, even my own family. And I was saying the right thing, that this is a dead end. It's going to lead to the destruction not only of Hamas, but also of the Arabs, wherever they are. And nobody listened. I became a criminal for saying the truth. And today, they see their wrongdoing. It's self-inflicted trauma, self-inflicted pain. The destruction of Gaza is the making of Hamas, it's the making of the Palestinians. And instead of admitting that their strategy is wrong, that what they did was evil, what they are doing, they're coming to blame me, they're coming to blame Israel, they're coming to blame every free person who say no to violence. Enough of this bullshit.
Wow.
Look, I'm not sorry to interrupt. I'm not afraid of political correctness or incorrectness. I've been saying this on the biggest platforms out there.
We're afraid.
And what they're going to do, sentence me to death 100 times more. I have nothing to lose. And I am firm in my truth. And if I have to face the entire world, today the entire world is turning against me. You have no idea when I travel globally, whether if it's in Asia, all what's so-called pro-Palestine turned against me.
Absolutely.
I'm not afraid of them because all they can do just kill this body. But they will never kill my spirit because I know where I stand morally.
Which is exactly why you're so courageous and you're saying your own truth. Yeah.
There is no other way for me. I cannot rationalize how I feel about this situation, and this must come to an end. I will never rest or be happy about the situation unless, first of all, Hamas is destroyed. Second, the Palestinians coming on their knees apologizing for all the bloodshed that they did against the Jewish people because they did not have the right for nothing. Not to the land. Their identity is fake. Everything about them is false. And I will continue to shout out loud to the whole world. And if they don't want to listen, they will have to deal with the consequences.
Wow.
I have been building eternal fire. I'm not a politician. They are going nowhere, and they will have to deal with their karma.
I agree with you.
Today, the fine line between truth and falsehood. It's very clear. Those who are anti-Israel, they are choosing terrorism. There is no middle ground. And I came to this conclusion after a very long observation. If you try to go into the rabbit hole of who's good and who's bad, who's moderate and who's extremist, we will never finish this war. The vast majority of what's so-called Palestinians, and that includes Israeli Arabs, many of them support Hamas terrorism and Hamas violent approach, and many of them are happy to see Israel in the mud and in the trap that Hamas created. Enough of this.
Who's funding?
I don't care about where they get their funding from. It's the common ideology what I care about. It's the common indoctrination. It's the same false narrative, whether if it's in the West Bank, in Gaza, among some of the Israeli Arabs, and in the rest of the Muslim world.
Qatar, Turkey.
That demonize and dehumanize the Jewish people. That does not approve the existence of the Jewish people as a nation. I'm not talking about a state. Where the Jewish blood is halal, is allowed, according to Allah. According to Allah, the end times will not happen until the Muslims kill all the Jews. This is what Muhammad in the Hadith Sahih says. And Muslims take this as legislation. This is the root cause. It doesn't matter. Today, Qatar gave them money. Tomorrow, Turkey would give them money. And the next day, they would get their money from France. Who cares? What really matters is the ideology. And it's sick ideology, and we must fight it firmly. Take my words. It's a matter of time before the Palestinian Authority launch a third intifada in the West Bank. It's a matter of time before all the fifth column who live in Israel enjoy and exploit the Israeli democracy. But deep in their hearts, they are against the Jews and they are against democracy, they are against Israel. They are going to rebel at some point, and I tell you something, Israel needs to be prepared and united. Because the enemy, the most dangerous enemy, is from within.
You talked a lot about the unity between us, that we don't have any unity between us.
There is no other option. If the decent Israeli citizens are not united and understand what's going on, tomorrow in front of the big challenge, they are going to beat us. So with that said, we need to be prepared. And I have to say, this time, if Mahmoud Abbas or Hussein al-Sheikh decide to do an intifada, the retaliation must be destructive. And the mistake of Israel today, that Israel is thinking that we can apply values and international laws. They are not playing by the laws. The only way to deal with this tribal mentality, 7th century mentality, Islamic jihadist mentality, barbarians, is to tell them violence is a dead end. We need to, the people to wake up. We have a domestic threat. The threat is coming from within. I'm not inciting against anybody. I have a problem with the Israeli Arab citizens, that they should be loyal to the Israeli flag, to the Israeli law, to the Israeli state, in submission and in obedience. This is war. We need warriors. I need Jewish warriors to stand behind me. We need to go, we need to fight. Otherwise, they're coming to our doorsteps. And the more we show them vulnerability,
they will come.
Their bloodlust ignites. Yeah. It's as simple as that. This is their mentality, and we must stop it. There is no Islamists, there is no jihadists. It's the Israeli law, and everybody is below that.
It's 2025. America's debt is over $37 trillion, and the dollar just had its worst crash since 1973. That puts your savings and your family's future at risk. That's why we trust Alpha Omega Gold, a company that stands unapologetically with Israel and supports Stand Tall Israel. Visit ao.gold/stand to claim your free precious metals wayfinder guide or call 1-855-426-4653 today. Protect your future before it's too late.